Hi, my name is Tony Holler, and today I'm going to talk about lessons learned. Now, I almost changed it to lessons taught because I don't know if we ever truly learn anything. I think we're in a constant state of learning. At least I hope so. First of all, this comes from TFC 2022 when Steve Jones spoke as our keynote speaker. He said that he quoted Steve Jobs and said that if you look back over your career, you see dots. You see people or books that have changed you. And if you look in your future, you can't see those dots. To me, that's really exciting because I know that I have a future and I know that people are going to change me. But, when I look back at Paul Souza, probably the closest thing to a mentor I ever had when I really made the change to Feed the Cats in 1999, to Chris Corfist, who I met 15 years ago. Lateef Thomas gave me the courage to start creating content and writing. John O'Malley, probably the smartest, most interesting coach I've ever met, even though he's a distance coach. And we're very different. But he's such a reader and such a cerebral guy. Love John. Steve Jones, maybe the most impactful person I've ever heard speak. Brian Kula, the guy who trains McCaffrey. It's almost like we evolved into the same person in different places. And then recently I've joined forces with Les Spellman, just an amazing person. These are some pretty impressive dots, and I can't wait to find out what the future holds. I think books change your life. This book here, just an amazing book. And it's written by a non-coach. Matter of fact, he's probably anti-athletics. We can learn so much from people who aren't from the same place that we're from. He says, the more desperately you try to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel, regardless of how much money you actually make. The more you desperately want to be sexy and desired, the uglier you come to see yourself, regardless of your actual physical appearance. The more you desperately want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become, regardless of those who surround you. The more you want to be spiritually enlightened, the more self-centered and shallow you become in trying to get there. We can sum up all those words and say, people try too hard. And I think that what I've learned is that trying too hard and thinking too much are the two biggest obstacles of high performance. You need to tell your kids to let it rip, train them, and then coach them to be instinctual. Do not try too hard, think too much. This book was very impactful. Atomic Habits. Atoms are the smallest things, smallest bits of matter, but yet they pack a lot of energy inside of that tiny nucleus. And we are nothing more than our habits, our good habits and bad. And what James Clear does is he teaches us how to break bad habits and build good ones. I love this saying in the book. The goal is not to just read a book. The goal is to become a reader. Now, it was so big for me, and when I read it, I decided I'd do 10 push-ups every day. And I decided I'd run 1 mile every day. Just 2 things, 10 push-ups, 1 mile. Start small. I also told myself, this doesn't always work out, but I said I would not eat during the day until I've done my push-ups and ran my mile. That was about a year and a half ago. I've now run like 520 consecutive days. But over the past year, where we're in December, over the past year, I've done over 14,000 push-ups. That's about 38 a day on average. And I've done over 800 miles. I believe that's averages around 2.2 miles a day. The point being this, if you start small and create a habit, all of a sudden 10 push-ups will not feel like enough. You'll do 30. You'll do 40. Maybe you'll do 2 sets. If you just say, I'm going to run a mile every damn day, one of these times you're going to go out and run 3 or 4. I think my longest run was 6. But I've run over 800 miles in 2023, and I'm 64. Those are good habits. I want to develop good habits. The atomic speed workout actually came from the idea of the atomic work. It came from atomic habits. What I want to do is create a habit of having kids get out and do speed work. And if you say the habit will take you 90 minutes 5 times a week, they're not going to do it. But if you say that I have a workout that you can get done in 15 minutes and you'll do only 60 seconds of work, maybe they'll actually do the workout. So the atomic speed workout is very simple.
This is Lavelle Patterson. Today we are going to do the 15-minute atomic speed workout. In this workout, we're going to do 10 speed drills that will take us about 10 minutes, and then we're going to do 2 sprints. In all, it's only going to take us 15 minutes, and Lavelle is only going to do 60 seconds of work. But the work that he's going to do is very high quality, high intensity, and super fast. This is the shortest, smallest workout that I've come up with that will actually have a positive impact on speed.
Now, it's important to state that this workout is not optimal. It's not the most you can do for sure. We're talking about the least. And some people might argue that you're not going to get a whole lot out of this workout. But I've seen guys that were very good athletes. I remember one in particular, a professional lacrosse player who was in great shape. He did the atomic workout and said he was sore for 7 days. That's because athletes involved in a sport typically never sprint. They run a lot. They move, they play, they do their skills, but they never sprint. They never do anything that looks like this. So the atomic workout for the return on investment, the bang for your buck, I think we're kind of onto something here. We do 10 speed drills in 10 minutes, then we do 2 sprints. The 2 sprints must be separated by a 5-minute recovery. So we're talking about 60 here. Lavelle did 69 seconds of work. 69 seconds in a 15-minute period. That's enough to light up your CNS, by the way. Lavelle would feel better at the end of this workout than he did when he started. I think there's all kinds of things that come from this type of work that's really positive. I think it's a potentiator of great things. If you've not read Essentialism, you've got to. It is the Feed the Cat's Bible. It was never meant to be. It was not a coaching book, but I've hijacked it. I love the words, the disciplined pursuit of less. It takes a lot to reject the more mentality that as Americans and as athletes we've always been taught. Essentialism is not about how to get more things done. It's about how to get the right things done. I love the cartoon on the right. People just go in every direction and they think they're doing such a great job. This is like every coach in America. They're just trying to fill every bucket at all times and they're just confused as hell. This book, of course, is a major coaching book. It was never written to be that way, but it is. I love the idea that we're not going to be goal people. We're going to burn our goals. Instead, we're going to be consistent in wanting excellence, and that means to go on a mission. And then the hardest thing for athletes and for coaches is to surrender to the results. But the reason why we must surrender is because if we surrender to the results will improve. It goes back to that thing about thinking too much and trying too hard, being obstacles of performance. When you surrender to the results, if you're in war and you realize that you're probably going to die, you become the ultimate warrior. And that's what we want from our athletes as well. The Twin Thieves, uh, Steve Jones, I think, has probably spoken at 6 or 7 TFCs now. Just as I said, one of the most influential men in my life. He's much younger than I am, but that's okay. And this is really a book about leadership. But I love the thing about, are you going to be a cow or a buffalo? And basically the story is this, that when a buffalo sees a storm coming, it heads towards the storm. That in the buffalo DNA, they know that it's a survival thing, that if you go into the storm, you're in the storm for a lesser period of time. Whereas a cow is afraid of the storm and runs away. If you run away, the storm follows you. And I just think that the entire book is full of these metaphors, full of these stories that make you think. Brad Stolberg's book had a huge impact on me, almost in a religious type of way. It talked about religions, plural, but it was not a religious book per se. But it just really talked about how important it is for us to grow roots and to have a strong foundation. And my favorite metaphor in this, my lesson learned was that the biggest trees in the world, redwoods, can grow like 200 feet. If you've never seen the redwoods, you must get out there to California and see them. Just an amazing, amazing thing. But what's crazy is usually a tree has as much woody material below the surface as they have above. They grow vast root systems, but the redwoods do not. Their roots, even though the tree itself, the trunk is 200 feet tall, the roots are only 10 feet. But what redwoods do is that they intermingle with with other redwoods, where they will lock in to the root systems of other trees in order to give them stability. And this, of course, is all about forming communities, having a team, a clan, a tribe that you can belong to. And as coaches, I think, we need to teach this support system to high school kids, college kids. This is a very old book. This picture of this book actually was my grandfather's book. My grandfather was born over 100 years ago, but this book survived, and I have it now. And lots of great things in how to win friends and influence people. Arguably the best title ever, one of the best-selling books of all times. And the lessons are timeless. But the thing that I took from this, I think coaches are, if you're like me, you're always getting in trouble. And when you get in trouble, when you do something dumb, if you say something that makes somebody upset or hurts their feelings, and you get called into the office and you have to defend yourself or talk to an irate parent that probably has every right to be irate, these are the things that Dale Carnegie teaches. First of all, listen. You just give your opponents a chance to talk. People want to be heard. Let them finish. Do not interrupt. Don't resist, defend, or debate. I mean, you're in there because you did something wrong or you upset somebody. So don't go in like it's a trial. Go in and let them talk, let them finish, and do not debate them. Now you start making things better by building bridges of understanding. Be honest. I've seen so many teachers and coaches claim to have not done what they really did. You must be honest. People appreciate honesty. Admit error. Apologize. It's really hard to stay mad at somebody who will tell you that they did something wrong and they wish it didn't happen, and I apologize. You start softening. That irate parent is not as irate anymore. Find areas of agreement. My favorite is that we're both on the same team, that we both love your son. We want your son to be a good player. We want your son to be happy. And those are things that, once again, will build bridges. And you don't have to win. It's really hard for coaches because we're winners. We want to win everything. I mean, we want to always walk out feeling like a winner. And you don't have to. If you can make a situation better, a bad situation better, in a way, you have won.